Morning everybody, my name's Rob from Thames Valley Windows and I'm here to talk to you about timber. There's a couple of things that we need to cover with the timber world at Thames Valley Timber, which is the underlying principles. You might call this the design and engineering principles that underpin our timber products. And there's a couple of really important things, but first of all let's understand what it is that people dislike about timber. Well, of course it can go rotten and it needs maintaining. And people, don't want to spend their Saturday afternoons up a ladder painting, understandably. What do they like about timber though? Let's look at the corollary. Well, it's the original, isn't it? It's the authentic, it's the beautiful, it's the lovely, it's the organic. It's really quintessentially the English door, the English window. Sliding sash windows are absolutely delightful and typify the English town and countryside. If it's well maintained, longevity is actually a good side of timber. They can last for over 100 years, as any Victorian property owner in London's terrace streets will tell you. Colour choices as well. You're not restricted to a manufacturer's palette. The colour choices for timber are anything that Farrow & Ball make, anything that Technos make, anything that pretty much any timber paint manufacturer makes. So you're not restricted. The ability to self-maintain can be seen as a negative, but it's also a positive because some people of course want to paint their windows and doors, and of course you can do that with timber. Now, it does need maintaining. Let's not kid ourselves. The downside of timber is you have to paint it and you have to look after it or it goes wrong. Okay? So there are a couple of innovations that underpin everything that we do here at Thames Valley, and it's important that you know about them because they do make a difference. And there's two big ones. One is the paint. In the bad old days, everybody used an oil-based paint called gloss. And the problem with gloss is it locks the water in the wood. It traps moisture in the wood so it can't get out. And the other thing is the movement of timber in line with its moisture content. In the winter months, when it's wet and damp, timber swells because it takes moisture on. And in the summer months, when it's drier, it loses that moisture and it shrinks a bit. And you get various problems associated with that movement of wood. If you can slow it down or prevent it altogether, the products perform much better over the long term. And there's two things we do to help that. Number one is we engineer the timber, which means we cut it into thinner laths and then glue it back together. It makes it more stable and less likely to change shape with moisture. Number two, the paint itself, the modern paints are called microporous paints. We use a team called Technos, but we also use Farrow & Ball as well. And they allow the moisture to move in and out of the timber so it doesn't push the paint away, causing those well-known bubbles which flake, break, and then eventually water gets in and starts to rot. So with microporous paints and engineered wood, it lasts much longer between maintenance cycles, and when you do come to repaint it after maybe 15 or 20 years, that's the current expectation in the industry for the length of maintenance for the first paint of a new window or door. It's just a green pan scourer, a little rub down, as much to get the muck off as anything else, and a very light key, and then you can paint straight over. So it's a much better technology for a longer term window. Okay, and those are the things that underpin Thames Valley's timber products. Right, just a quick close-up on engineered timber. Here's a cutaway of a door. Can you see that this frame member here has been cut into thinner laths and then glued back together, and the same with the outer frame. Then the English panel, a nice raised and fielded panel, which are beautiful standard traditional English doors. It's got a polyfoam core and it's 54mm thick, so it's a chunky piece of timber, not your average front door. The other thing is that most front doors are 44mm thick, Thames Valley timber is 60mm, so they're just more robust. We also use hardwood in the sills and the lower jambs, and that's because of course the stuff that goes rotten in a window or a door is typically the bit that's in puddling water. Anything that's left in water in the timber world has a tendency to rot. So with Thames Valley timber, we don't just use softwoods at the bottoms, we use hardwoods because they're much more resistant to rot. So everything in the lower elements of a door and a window in our world is made of hardwood.